Okay, let's call the May meeting of the Public Safety Committee to order. Motion to approve the minutes of April.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, privilege of the floor. Is there anybody here for privilege of the floor? Anybody here for privilege of the floor? If not, we'll close privilege of the floor. Number 1, proposed resolution. Confirm appointments, Chautauqua County Emergency Medical Services Council. James, just identify yourself for the, okay.
This is James Feldman. I am Chautauqua County Executive PJ Wendell's executive assistant. So we have 2 people up for the nomination, at-large North, Joshua Newark, and at-large South, Darlene Morrison. Darlene actually served on the council previously as the Fire Battalion 4 representative, and she had to step away for a little bit and is now coming back to serve as the at-large South.
James, was she the 4th Battalion coordinator?
She was.
She was. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then Joshua works here with Chautauqua County EMS. He's been a paramedic since 2017 and now is a senior paramedic, I believe.
And these people have consented to be on the
Yes.
the council?
Yep.
Okay. Committee. Questions of James?
Sounds like 2 quality candidates to me.
Does to me too. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
That was quick. Okay, authorize agreement with various school districts for school resource officer services 2023, 2024.
Good
Hi, Rich.
afternoon. Rich Telford, Chautauqua County Undersheriff. Resolution in front of you is for an agreement with multiple school districts starting July 1st, 2023 to run through June 30th, 2024 to provide school resource officer to those school districts. As they are listed, Brockton, Frewsburg, Pine Valley, Silver Creek, Forestville, and an agreement with BOCES. Currently, we have 1 deputy assigned to the Maple Avenue and Casadega BOCES, and a 2nd deputy that rotates between Asheville and Fredonia BOCES. They are cost out at $104,000, or the cap on each of these contracts per school is $104,125. These are all renewals of schools that we currently have in this school year.
But you said that was up to that amount?
Up to that amount.
So if they don't have any activities for the deputies to do, then obviously they would pay less and then the deputies would revert back to their normal road patrol duties?
Yes, yes.
Does that figure represent salaries and benefits?
Salaries, benefits, retirement, unemployment, workman's comp, the whole,
The full cost.
yes. And what we do, what we have done the last several years is our deputy contracts, the contract, I believe, has 9 steps in it. We take a step 4 deputy and we cost it out for a step 4 deputy and health insurance at a family 2. So it's kind of middle of the road. Most of the SROs are higher steps than that, but just to simplify it and equalize it across the board, that's how we select the step 4 and the insurance for 2.
Okay. Committee, other questions of Rich?
I'm just glad to see that it's at that number now, because I know in the past it was really low and
Yeah.
it was a lose-lose for the county.
Yeah.
You
Rich,
could get into nickels and dimes and, is it a $500, $1,000 more maybe, but it's
Significantly
much
better.
closer, much closer to an actual cost. Yes.
Yeah, and Rich, just to expand on Bob's comment, these are 5 schools here, well, 6, I guess, with BOCES. We've had less in the past. We've had more.
Yes.
How do we get these people? Is the sheriff's department reach out to these folks, or do they contact us? How do we get these agreements?
The school usually reaches out to us.
Okay.
And since these are renewals, 3 months ago, I reached out to each superintendent to see if they had intentions to re-up for the next calendar year, which they did. Full disclosure, we've had another school in the county inquire about an SRO for the next school year. Unfortunately, we don't have the manpower to fill that. We do it on a volunteer basis within the department. We did not have anybody off probation that was interested in becoming an SRO. And what we have found in the past is if we forced somebody into this role when they didn't want to do it, it was not a good fit. And because of the requirements and law enforcement's difficult enough, but when you go into a school where you're dealing with a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old all differently, we try to avoid having deputies that are brand new go into the schools. So unfortunately, we did have to turn down one school district for next year. If that changes, we'll reach back out to them and offer our services.
Okay, so if we had 3 or 4 other schools that expressed an interest, we might not be able to fulfill that request?
As of today, that's correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Are these all the schools that currently?
These are current as of today in this school year, and they are all renewing for next year. So there's no additions or subtractions.
See, I think this is a real important thing that the sheriff's department does. I wish more schools would contact you guys and contract with you. I'd like to see a SRO in every school, quite frankly.
Ideally, I agree with you. And I always push. And when I met with the other superintendent that inquired, I firmly believe the key word in that is the resource of the
Okay.
school resource officer.
Gotcha.
He or she is not there to make arrests. He or she is not there to get intel. And I always say, I want our deputies to do bike safety in kindergarten one day and teach DWI enforcement in the senior class the next day.
It's protection and public relations. quite
Public
frankly.
relations, just another resource that we just on a side note, it was yesterday, one of the schools through a social media account got wind of one of their students that was possibly harming themselves at home. And the school resource officer and the principal went to the house. And in fact, the student was attempting to harm himself, and
okay.
it worked out for the good. Got the student to the hospital, but it was, here again, something you don't think about sometimes when you talk about SROs.
Okay. All right. Committee, anything else of Rich?
Nope.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
Okay, proposed resolution amend 2023 budget to implement the UTV Tracked Emergency Response Vehicle Project using funding from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA.
All right, Noel Gutman, Director of Emergency Services. So the resolution before you is was derived as a project trying to look at ways to improve our readiness to storm response that we saw up in Erie County and the north part of the state for us. As outlined in the project proposal there, many of the rescues, almost predominantly all of the rescues of people in the city of Buffalo in that areas up there were we're done with vehicles like this, that tracked UTV vehicle. Conventional vehicles were essentially useless in that type of snowstorm. This particular vehicle would be a year-round resource available to all fire departments, law enforcement. But this is something that I feel we can increase our readiness for emergency preparedness and many aspects of our operations of our office
Where is this going to be stored at?
here in Mayville.
Is there, and this is just a thought, when I saw that, like if there's anticipation of a huge snowstorm, like the blizzard that we had, we knew it was coming. Would that be something that you might move to, say, Dunkirk?
Any resources could be pre-positioned based on a needs assessment. Yeah.
To your house, Bob.
Yeah.
I won't be there.
Yeah. We could, any resource we have, we could absolutely pre-position, relocate, pre-position ahead of an event, if the needs were that way. But this is just something that, like I said, it's a year-round asset and, will help fulfill some of those mission parameters that became newly defined, I guess, if you will, the way that snowstorm hit Buffalo. For those, we actually sent one of our local fire departments up that had something like that, and they were literally using these to drive up to someone's house and effect rescues, and then bring them to an ambulance that was a mile or two away that could barely get on the roads. And we all saw the roads.
Yeah.
And these are the type of vehicles that were affecting the rescues.
So this would be used for local fire departments in an emergency. It wouldn't be something the county, is there?
Our special teams can use it.
Okay.
We can support fire departments on year-round functionalities with it.
Okay.
It'll be a multi-purpose asset, and a year-round asset.
Off-road. And
Off-road, on-road. It'll have the
snow.
conventional wheels and the tracks for it as well. Like I said, it'll be a multi-use vehicle
Mhm.
for
And
to
it-
support county functions, fire
and it-
department functions.
Includes a trailer. I think I saw that.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the life expectancy of this?
Quite long. This is something I can't foresee replacing in the near future. I mean, this is these units are made pretty rugged, and it'll have a routine maintenance program to it, so it'll be something that should have a very good lifespan to it.
Any special training required for the drivers?
There's no special training for it. VFIS, which is the Volunteer Fire Insurance Group, and OFPC and DHSCS are developing and have developed some off-road ATV, UTV specific courses. Currently not are offered around here, but that's something we'll try and get brought in. And there'll be some training on the specific, the operation of it and the tracks and stuff. But there are some defined courses that do exist, and we'll try and get people to just, in a course of normal training. But as with any new equipment, once we get it in service, we'll in-service our people with it and how it works and how to deploy it.
Where is this coming from?
The unit?
Yeah.
The pricing I got was through GSA pricing. So I think the unit I looked at was a Polaris unit on GSA contract.
So there's not going to be a dedicated crew that goes from an emergency services that goes with us. That's
Well, as with
be
many of the,
taken to
as with many of the guys in emergency services, they work on the hazmat team, the tech rescue team, the guys in the office. So it'll be many people will be trained on it. So it's not going to belong to one entity. It belongs to everybody. So it's whoever is able to go get it, will go get it. A lot of times I'm sure I'll be deploying it, or, just depending on where it's, the time of day, but it'll be a cross-trained unit for many aspects.
Okay, committee, any other questions of Noel? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Great. I guess you're here.
I think it's just me now.
Yeah, for the rest of these.
You got
Okay.
a big Christmas list here already that you're in.
Yeah, really. It's,
Well, you get nothing of what you don't ask for.
Exactly.
okay. Amend 2023 budget to implement the Class B foam project for county fire departments using funding from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA.
So this resolution is a proposed project. As we know, there's been a lot of information in the last year or two about firefighting foam being bad for the environment. The PFAS in it has caused all sorts of problems for water systems and just public health in general. So many fire departments have this foam on hand. It's a Class B foam, is used to either fight oil, gas, hydrocarbon fires, or, when oil spills and gas spills, that type of such. Been used for decades. Pretty much every fire department has this on hand, and now they're being, the state has come out and said, this is bad. You can't buy it anymore. The foam with the PFAS, you can't buy it anymore. They haven't come out and said it's illegal to use. They have come out and said it's illegal to train with, and you can't dispose of it however you want. You have to, it's essentially become a hazmat material. They've said if you have it, you can use it, but you better have a really good life safety issue of justification. So the fire community as a whole, the industry's come up with what's called now universal green foam. And that's kind of a generic term, just like, it's not a specific brand. And it's environmentally friendly for the best way to describe it. It's designed to mimic the same qualities as Class B foam, works just a little bit different, does the same job, but be more environmentally friendly and doesn't contain the PFAS and the bad chemicals. So this project is we have 42 fire departments and our hazmat team, so let's say 43 entities for numbers. This project is to be able to put foam in the hands of those fire departments that have it so that we can, replace. This will be a one-time purchase for the fire departments. We're not going to supply it to them after this. It'd be to try and get this foam out there so we can have our fire services still be ready to use the foam as they need to, and also our hazmat team to have it as well. The one thing it does not include, and unfortunately no one has been able to answer this question yet, is what do we do with the old foam? Ironically, I thought I had a way to donate it to Ukraine firefighters, and that fell through. But there is another company that just sent out a letter that they're looking to do pretty much an entire statewide collection of it. It would be for a cost. I don't know what that is yet. That would be borne by the individual fire departments. That's nothing of this. It's just some background on the foam itself. But this project is to put a small quantity with each fire department. Now, I would say like departments that have the I-90 corridor from 5, I-90, the railroads, and 20, Route 60, I-86, they have those more thoroughfares with the vehicles that might be carrying more of those Class B materials, that they might get a couple more than the other department that just is looking for their normal fire protection needs. But it is to, disperse it to our 42 departments.
Then after that, they're on their own.
This is a one-time. It's like, this is, try and get you started in the right direction, lead by example. Hey, this is the right stuff. This is how to do it. The state, there's a lot of different training available from the state on this, and we're going to try and bring that locally as well. We can send guys to the fire academy for it, but we're going to try and bring that locally. That training would be zero cost because it's state provided, but I'm trying to bring that as well with this project.
The equipment to
Fire department should already have the equipment to do it.
same equipment.
same
to be
equipment.
used, it was
Just have to learn how to, it's got a little different learning curve to it. It doesn't perform just as well or just as the other one did. So there's a little bit of a learning curve on how to use it, but that's just all goes into the training of any type of new equipment. But there's no equipment purchases with this. This is just to put the new foam for firefighting capabilities in the hands of our departments.
Okay. Committee, any other questions of Noel? Noel, just one last question. Do you know what the useful life of this universal green is? Is it
They
5
really haven't.
years or?
They really
Okay.
haven't said yet. The manufacturers have come out and said it's really such a new product, and the way that they would test the foam that we currently had is the manufacturer actually had the original batch, and every year they'd extend it. Say, no, we tested it, still has no degradation, it's still good,
Okay.
and that was going on like 28 years. So it's like any product, it does degrade a little bit, but it has a very good, I would say 5 to 7 expected year shelf life is what
Okay.
they're telling us right now.
Okay.
But they
Just-
really haven't come out and said, because it's such a new product, they haven't hard stamped that yet.
Okay. Just wondered.
So one last question. Is this universal green foam, is it biodegradable?
I don't know if it's biodegradable or not. I'd have to read the SDS sheets on that, but it's, as they say, it's more environmentally friendly.
Than what
Yeah.
was the previous?
Yeah.
Foams? Okay.
today.
Will they train with this new phone, or
It's really the same. It's,
everybody's trained already on?
and I fought a lot. I've used for lack of a better term, the bad foam many times, and it works really well. This new stuff works really well, just not as fast. So might have put the fire out in, a minute with the old stuff. This one's going to take a minute and 20 seconds. I'm just making up numbers
Okay.
but yeah, so there's going to be a slight little bit of a learning curve. With any new piece of equipment, a little bit of new training comes with it.
But if they train with this foam that you're giving them, it's a smaller quantity, then they might use this foam up in training.
No, there's honestly, when you're doing foam training, you can make a solution out of like Dawn dish soap and water.
And
It's just the mechanics of, getting the foam from the buckets to the truck, the engine on the fire. That doesn't need to be used. You wouldn't use this stuff for that. That would be an incredible waste.
But we did use the Class B foam for training.
Some departments, yeah. Then in that particular stuff, that was all very old stuff that was taken out of service. And that's why that years ago was done. But this would not be for training. This would be for real world application.
Because I think, no, we used some of that for training right up here in Mayville,
Correct.
didn't we? Years ago?
Correct.
Okay. All right, committee, any other questions on this one? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, next, amend 2023 budget to implement the dive truck replacement project using funding from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA.
Proposed resolution, the current dive vehicle is at least a 17-year-old ambulance that was retrofitted to tow the boats. It is really an end of life. The current guys that drive it, they say they feel like Fred Flintstone when they have to stop it. They're not sure if they have to put their foot out and hold on the ground to get it to stop. So it's about the best descriptive I come on. It is the dive team is, since I've ever known, they've always just acquired an old ambulance and retrofitted it and made it work. With the trailers, the new boat that we'd ordered, it's just much safer to have a vehicle that was designed to tow larger apparatus, and the needs of the dive team have changed, have evolved over the years. One of the reasons they used to go for an ambulance is that way they'd have some place to go inside and change and work out of. With other vehicles that exist, that need is not as foremount for a dive vehicle anymore. And we're looking to get like a 1-ton pickup truck that can still carry their equipment, but can more safely get them to and from with the towing requirements that they have.
Okay, committee?
Is this similar to the SWAT vehicle?
No,
that we-
this would be like a 1-ton pickup truck.
Okay.
That the
Is it
SWAT vehicle will be very distinct. This
Is it armored?
This?
Yeah.
No, this is a pickup truck. You go to, the SWAT vehicle is a very
Sure,
unique
yeah.
and special purpose vehicle. This is would be a
Pickup truck,
1-ton
Basil.
a 1-ton crew cab pickup truck that you could buy. You go to any parking lot, dealer and buy.
Oh, okay.
It's not even it won't even be a fire looking truck. It's going to be more of a pickup truck with a cap on it.
And so individual departments will have access to it then? Or is this
Well, individual departments, they would call the dive team on an emergency aspect, and
Okay.
that would respond from here.
All right, I see. You call the county with that. All right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because our current vehicle is a ambulance that's 17 years old.
17
Right.
might be a little generous. It might be a little older. I might have wrote that number down wrong. It's at least 17 years old. And usually when an ambulance gets taken out of service, they've been run pretty good. And the current ambulance, it was retrofitted to tow vehicles. So it's kind of doing a task it was never really meant to do. So we're trying to get them a purposeful vehicle designed for the mission.
Well,
I'm sure that somebody will buy it on the auction site. I wouldn't venture to guess how much that would be. It would make some,
John Hemmer, I think you need an ambulance.
Yeah,
don't
it
you?
it definitely will need some brakes.
Think about it, John.
Yes,
Maybe
yeah,
you can get a
well,
deal on it.
For my rental.
Okay. All right. Committee, anything else on this one?
No.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, next, amend 2023 budget to implement the Building Emergency Alert System project using funding from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA.
So this resolution proposed is for install an emergency alert system that's based off of cell phones. So any employees would download this app. It's a free app. When you open the app, it has basically, you look at it, it has several buttons on it. When you press the button, the first one on top is like says active shooter, I think what it says. If you press and hold that button for a second and a half, it dials 911 and sends a message to everybody in that geo-fenced building. So for here in Mayville, it would be both buildings would be geo-fenced, and everybody that has that app would get a notification that, hey, that message just went out. There's the same thing for emergency alert. So let's say there was a medical issue, and the way we would set this up is everybody that we identify that's CPR AED trained or an EMT on site. If there was a medical emergency, you press that button and that message would go out to everybody that you predesignate to get it. Plus, it would also put that person in touch with 911. Another functionality of it would be, let's say there's a fire drill, there's a fire alarm. Everyone's out in the parking lot, their designated areas. We could say, okay, the fire alarm's been cleared. With a push of a button, we can now send a message to everyone that has that app and say, hey, you're free to go back to work. Another neat functionality of this is, obviously we're concerned about anybody that comes into our buildings. So we can put a banner up downstairs or signage or something that says, when you're on the premises, text, 12345 for emergency messages while you're in the building. So if one of those messages went out, anybody that just texted that number would get that message while they're in that geo fence that's on the map. So just trying to find ways to increase safety. And I know we have the panic buttons on the hardline phones, which work well. This is just another layer for everyone that, has their, pretty much nobody goes anywhere without their cell phone anymore. So it's just a way to try and reach that crowd as well.
Okay, committee questions on this one?
Is that cost a yearly cost or?
Yeah, the project I'm doing, I believe it was for a 3-year project. And after that, the cost would need to be rolled into a budgetary item.
Okay, anything else? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. No, before you you take off, I just want to thank you and Bonnie for your efforts on behalf of the property tax exemption for volunteer firemen and ambulance workers. You guys brought it to the attention of the Public Safety Committee. We did some work on it. We got it passed. Actually, it was unanimous, both local laws. But thank you and Bonnie for your efforts.
I'll make sure she knows. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, that brings us to other. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up under other? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
John, you second?
Yeah.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We're adjourned. Thank you, guys. Okay, we're out of here. So, all right.